If you like our content, please like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get alerts when we introduce new videos.
In this brief demonstration, we're going to take a look at the client connectivity tools to help us understand what is happening when a client attempts to join our WLAN. Let's get started. I'm logged into SmartZone here, and we want to take a look at the client connectivity tool. But before we jump into that, I just want to give you a quick overview of how I have the SmartZone configured. Under Network Access Points, I only have one AP that is currently being managed by this system, so it should be pretty easy to find everything. It is a RUCKUS R310, and it is at 192.168.1.5. Looking at the wireless LANs, I only have one WLAN that's propagated. It is an 802.1x-Corp is the name of it. It's a AAA authenticated WLAN. So we want to use the client connectivity tool to view the process of clients attempting to connect into this. We're going to select Monitor from the top. We're going to go under Troubleshooting and Diagnostics and select Troubleshooting. From this troubleshooting wizard, you've got several options here you can choose from, but again, we said we're going to do client connection, so we're going to select that if it's not already listed there for you. The next piece of information that you need is you need to specify the MAC address of the client that you're trying to monitor. It may be in this drop-down list for you already. If it is, you can select it. If it's not, you can type it in there. You can grab that from your device and put it in there in this format. Once you've specified those two things, we need to select the APs that we're going to want to look for the client connection on. This can be multiple APs. In this scenario, I've only got the one AP, so that makes this selection pretty simple. So I'm selecting the zone where that resides, and I'm choosing OK. Once that has been done, we've defined all that, we're now ready to start the connectivity trace. So I'm going to click the play button here, and what we're going to start to see is any requests coming in from this client. Now, this client is particularly a phone, and the phone's Wi-Fi is off. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the phone Wi-Fi on here, and we should start to see connection requests come in, and we can determine what is happening with the client connection through those requests. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit here, and you can see that we have the authentication, the 802.11 authentication request and response, the association request and response, and then you can see we're doing an EAP request. Again, I said this was a AAA radius-backed WLAN, so we can see that EAP request go out, and you can see here in these columns, each one of these blue columns represents a step in that process. So we're going from client device to AP communications, and then down in this radius access request, we go from client device all the way to the access point. We go to the data plane, the control plane, all the way over to the AAA server. So we're hitting the AAA server, but what's happening here is it's failing. If we hover that, it says radius server unavailable. And if we look at the radius access request, it is saying that it expired. So this client is not getting on the network. So we need to kind of go back and use this so we know that there's a problem with the AAA server here, the communication to it. So if we go back to our network that we've defined, and we look at, I'm going to go ahead and choose to leave this page. If we go and look at this 802.1x-Corp WLAN, let's see which proxy server or non-proxy server is configured. So again, here we have the authentication service. It is using the non-proxy radius. So knowing that, let's go and look at the non-proxy radius server. I'm going under security, authentication, non-proxy, and this is the non-proxy radius server that we defined for the use of that WLAN. I'm going to go ahead and click Test AAA on this. This is a good way to make sure that the communication is working. So the user 1 is the account that I've established. Password is the password for this. And we can click Test. So as we see here, the Test AAA button is actually saying that it is successful. Remember when we talked about non-proxy and proxy AAA, when you're doing non-proxy AAA and you're using this test AAA button, you're actually testing AAA from the controller to the authentication server. However, when you're actually doing a non-proxy request, the request is coming from the AP. Remember we said that the AP was at 192.168.1.5. what I need to check here is that that particular AP is defined as a client in the Radius server. So I actually happen to have that window up. I'm going to switch over to that. It is running pfSense, and it's running the free Radius service. So I'm going to go check my free Radius service, and I'm going to look at my NAS client list. I can see in here that I currently do not have 1.5 as a client. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. So if I type in 192.168.1.5, just give it a short name, choose save. Let's go back and try this authentication again. So we're going to go back under monitor, troubleshooting. Well, we are going to reselect our we're going to reselect our AP here. There's one AP. It'll grab the one I need. I'm going to go ahead and click Start, and then I'm going to turn Wi-Fi back on the phone device. So again, we will watch the attempt of this phone to connect to that 802.1x Corp network. Okay, so it looks like we've had some additional communication between the client and the AAA server, but it still is failing. We actually got a E failure if we go all the way down, and it's saying that the AAA authentication failed. This is likely because I have the wrong password typed in on this phone. So what I'm going to do, and you can see that it de-auth the client after it failed the Radius challenge. It failed it. So I'm going to go back in to my phone, and I am going to retype the account password. So let me set that up here. Again, it was user1. The password was password. We verified that that account was correct through the test AAA, but now let's do it from the phone. So I'm going to hit the connect button on the phone again, and it's going to go ahead and just append that connection back in. Here we go. It's scrolling down, scrolling down. Okay, so we have connected to this successfully. So here was our failure. And if we scroll down, you can see that we re-authenticated and reassociated. We redid the EAP request and response, and that was the communication between the client, the AP, and the AAA server. So the AP and the AAA server are talking back and forth. As we scroll further down, we can see that we finally get the four-way handshake. So this means that we've passed authentication, and we are now ready to do a DHCP request. So after the four-way handshake, we see the DHCP request in the ACK, and this client has configured successfully. This tool is very valuable to be able to determine where in the authentication process your client may be getting hung up. So if you need to use this to determine that, this is a simple way to do it. And again, we can verify if we go under Monitor, Wireless Clients, we can verify that that client is now actually successfully connected. So here's that client with that 5473 MAC address, and it is happy. So again, that is a quick look at the client connectivity tool in terms of how to use it to assess a client connection problem. Thanks for watching, and we hope you can join us for future video content.